let's start.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you had a nice weekend. So today we are going to continue with coding from what we did last time. I think last time I promised you that I will upload a link for the game. I tried to comment it on YouTube, but it didn't allow me to add any comments there. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to do that. Because I ran into problems when I did it, and I thought maybe it would be a good opportunity to show you how to actually share your games with other people. So I'm just gonna, maybe I should save this before I go. I'm just gonna save this as my Scratch folder. Just call this intro and open. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Scratch, and we looked at the paddleball game in particular. So just to remind you quickly how it works is you press a little flag and we can move the mouse around and we can play with a paddleball. And I think right at the end of the lesson we also added some kind of a scoring system as well. So I think that's actually a pretty important part. So I'm just going to go over that again, how we actually add a score. So how it works is we have to create something called a variable. Think of a variable as a box basically that contains values. And we see here that we've got a new person here that's new to coding. Welcome. I hope you enjoy this, and yeah, you're going to learn a lot here, hopefully. So yeah, any questions, let me know. So going back to this, a variable essentially is like you can think of it as a box that can hold a value, right? And every box that you have to give it a name. So I'm going to say make a variable, and I'm going to give it the name score. I'm just going to click OK. And then once that happens, we see that we have all these settings that appear for the score. So how I would like this to work is that when I start the game, you can see here that the score is currently set equal to 0. But I want to make sure that every time that I start the game, that we reset the score back to 0. Okay. And how this works is essentially we see that we start with currently the ball. And the ball starts at position X and Y 160. We chose a random number. That was also pretty important. So a random number gives me all the numbers between 135 all the way up including to 225. So I get 135, 136, 137, all the way up until 225. And this gives me an angle for the ball. So this basically determines if it's going to go in this direction, or this direction, or this direction. So it's completely random. We don't know which direction it will go into, but it will definitely go in one of those directions once the game starts. Okay, and then we say in forever, basically, once it points in a direction, it's going to keep moving by 10 steps. So it's going to move basically 10, 10, 10 on a time. If it reaches the edge of the screen, it's going to bounce back into the screen. And we said here that if we touch the paddle, then we're going to change the direction in which it's moving. In that case, we're going to change it to a random direction. It's either going to go this way, or it's going to go this way, or it's just going to go up. Basically, any angle between those things basically will change. Okay, so every time we hit the paddle, it's going to go up, and then it's going to go around, it's going to bounce, and it's going to come back down again. Okay, so we want to make sure that every time that we touch the paddle, we have here, it plays a little popping sound, but we can also say that I want to change the score by 1. So every time that we touch, the score will increase by 1, increase by 1, increase by 1. So let's just see how this works quickly. We can see clearly here at the top, we have the score is updating every time that we hit the paddle. Okay, there's something else I wanted to show you, but we didn't have time for it last time. I want to maybe make the game slightly more challenging, right? Maybe you'll feel that the game is a bit too slow and you don't want to go into the code every time to change the speed. So over here, we see that the ball basically, the speed of the ball is essentially determined by the amount of steps that it takes, right? So it takes 10, takes 10, takes 10. So if we make this faster, or let's maybe first start with slower, let's make it 1 step at a time. And if I press the flag, we can see that it's really, 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 really slow.